YouTube! I am Pinstar, and this is Factory Town Strategy and Tactics Quick Tip. So today's quick tip, our first named building complex here, is one useful in the early game. I like to call it the Wood Diamond. And it gives you a couple of key resources in your global inventory while also supplying your town with a couple of useful ones to get your red coin production up. Let me show you how it's done. So the way you set up the wood diamond is obviously you're going to want to be near a bunch of trees here. First part of the wood diamond is a barn, actually, that comes with the woodworking tech. You want to set it somewhat closer to the trees. I know the barn is not explicitly the thing that collects the wood, but in this case it is. It doesn't really matter which way the barn is oriented. Now, as far as the barn's inventory, very specific setup here. In our storage, we're going to want to set one of the 4 units to logs, one of the 4 units to planks, one of the 4 units to wood conveyor belts, and lastly, one of the 4 units to fluid pipes. More on how we're going to use that in just a moment. Now, in earlier tech levels, before you have access to forestry, you're going to just need some good old-fashioned workers, and you want to have them hit the trees and bring that to the barn. Next piece of the puzzle here is going to be our lumber mill. We're going to set this off, touch the 2 corners to each other, and then go 1 space forward, so there's a little gap in between them. As far as how the lumber mill faces, you do want to make sure it's facing in a way that you can connect up a road. So we're going to place it like that and make sure we connect up our road. The reason for the road is that the town's happiness bonuses translates to a production bonus if it is properly linked up to a nearby town. Here we're going to want to enable planks and fluid pipes. Now, as far as hooking these 2 up, we want to get a chute on the bottom level here. Just place it between the barn and the lumber mill here. But then we're also going to want a wood conveyor belt up on top. So what you want to do is collect this wood pillars, put it on the bottom level, do a wood scaffold arch, put that on top. And now we have a wood conveyor belt. Flip that around so that that is feeding back into that. Grab yourself a logistic blocks, a grabber, and you want to set a grabber to go from the barn to the lumber mill. This bottom grabber, we want to tell it to grab wood. And because the chute can transport wood a lot faster than conveyor belts, we want to use the chute. Now, as far as this grabber up here, we want this to be planks. So basically people will put wood into the barn, the barn will shoot wood into the lumber mill, it will process them into planks and send them back. Now, next piece of the puzzle here is the workshop. The workshop lets us do a few more things here, and just like before, touch the corners to the barn here, move it forward 1 so that it's parallel with our lumber mill. And we might as well hook up the footpath so that it gets the bonuses. Now for here, we want this one to make us wood wheels and wood conveyor belts. Now as far as how we're going to be transporting things here, same deal applies. We want a chute at the bottom going from the barn to here. And just as before, we want a logic block grabber. And we want this also to send regular wood. That's needed for the wooden conveyor belt recipe. But we also want to have another form of movement here. But this time we're sending stuff back in here. So here we want to send our wooden conveyor belts back into the barn. Now, how is our workshop going to get stuff from here? We want to get ourselves a wooden conveyor belt. For planks, straight from there. In fact, if you want to be a little bit more thorough, you can double this up. Doing this 2-tier system, you can get 2 of these things, and that is double the throughput for planks. That may or may not be necessary as you go up and up a little higher here. Now, in this little gap here in the middle, we want a crate. Doesn't really matter where this crate is facing because it's not going to hit the road. We want a single wood conveyor belt facing the crate. Get yourself a grabber and pull from the workshop like that. This one is going to be grabbing wood wheels. The reason being is that wood wheels that are put into the crate go into global inventory. This enables you to build wagons, which allow you to transport goods in a little bit more bulk. Whether or not you want to build wagons is up to you, but this little working supply of wood wheels will give you that ability. Now, one last thing here to complete our diamond. And that is a general store. We want this across the road from these two things, with each of the corners touching the corners of each of these, but one space back. And why are you saying you don't have access to Oh, that's because we haven't actually built any houses. I'm just going to build a random house to make them happy. Now, so what we do here is we're going to be feeding some goods into the general store, which will then be transported to all of your population, which will both make them happy and as well as generate red coins. So in here, we don't want to place anything on the ground level because that's where the road is needed. So both of these are going to be starting up with the scaffolding like this. We're going to get a wood conveyor belt here, wood conveyor belt here. This grabber is going to take wood wheels and push them right into here. And this grabber is also going to take planks and push them in because planks is something that people want. And that, my friends, is our wood diamond. Now, let's see how this looks in an actual game. Okay, here we are. So here's our wood diamond in an actual working town here. Now, once you've upgraded your tech enough to get a forester, you'll want a forester to be the thing pumping logs into here. The other thing that you're going to want to do here, because this is going to demand a lot of your build here as far as between planks and fluid pipes, and there's going to be a lot of demand for planks, is you're going to want to expand this a little bit more as your town grows and the demands go higher. So what I would suggest here is another lumber mill, something like back here. We'll put him over here so we can hook up our pathway. And in this case, what we'll want to do is have ourselves a chute between here, and we'll have a couple of wood conveyor belts to here. And here, we just want this one to make the planks and the fluid pipes. So actually, we don't need all three. We just need two of them, one for each. But then what we can do on this one, our original one, is we can just put the we can do the grabber for it and just do planks. We don't need to do anything else. That way this one isn't focusing its efforts on fluid pipes. So we can turn off the fluid pipe recipe on this one and let this back one be planks and fluid pipes. And one for fluid pipes, one for planks. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Oh yeah, we also don't want to forget to do the grabber out of here so this can be fed logs, and don't forget to crank up the number of people on these. Also, you can see here that I did not opt to do the wood wheel thing. That's an optional thing. I'm still testing to see whether or not I like wood wheels or wagons as a transportation method, and this is one of the ones that I'm testing that doesn't do that. Now, there's one more thing that you can do to upgrade this setting, and that is if you can somehow get either cotton or wool into this workshop, then you can get things even better. Luckily, we have this nice patch of cotton right over here. Ourselves an upgraded form of belt. So what we've got here is I've got a supply of raw cotton flowing into our workshop. We've added the cloth, cotton into cloth one. You can also do wool into cloth. Either is fine. But we can also now do a cloth conveyor belt based on, there's two different flavors of it, but we want the one off of the wood conveyor belts. Because once you've got an ample supply of cloth conveyor belts, wood kind of becomes obsolete. So, but we do still have the ability to make wood conveyor belts, so we might as well make those rather than using up our wood wheels, because we still need those for both our general supply and also our supplying the town for red coins. Now, one other thing that we want to update here is, and this may seem kind of bad, we can nix our supply of wood conveyor belts because they are now obsolete. And replace them with cloth conveyor belts. The other thing we want to do is update our grabber so that we grab cloth conveyor belts. One other thing that we'll want to do is we want to add cloth alongside wood wheels to our thing that exports here to our thing here, because the general store likes cloth. It also likes raw cotton, which is why I have some of the raw cotton going straight here to the general store as well. Our houses definitely like those as part of their clothing form of the happiness. Even though we haven't stitched it into clothing, they like the raw materials as sort of a lower level of that. So definitely worth it, and feeds right into the general store that you've already got set up. So now we've got ourselves our cloth belt here. Also, all those hearts was the affinity going up for this cotton field. I will explain farm fields and my strategies behind them in a later video. So that, my friends, is the wood diamond. This little setup here is all you really need to get a sort of a toehold on the early game stuff. Obviously, this isn't going to suit your needs as you go higher up in the tech levels, but having a strong foundation going all the way up to cloth conveyor belts is one ample way that you can get your belts on here and get things flowing the way you need them to. Also, I just realized one mistake. Be wary when you change that if there isn't one stuck on the belt, that they don't get stuck there. You can just delete that, reapply the grabber, and reselect our cloth conveyor belts, and now we go. But keep in mind that we can't place cloth conveyor belts until they're in a general supply. A barn counts as a general supply. So see here, cloth conveyor belts. Now that we have something in the general supply, we can actually build them in the world. If they were just sitting in the workshop, we could not access our supply of cloth conveyor belts from there. They have to be moved out of their production building. So I hope you guys found this tip useful. I'm going to do a few more of these tips and then I'll launch into sort of a general playthrough. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and leave me a comment. Good, bad, or indifferent, your feedback's always welcome. So until next time, this has been Pinstar signing out. See ya!